Assalamu alaikum everyone. After a long time, I'm gonna meet with you with the English class. So hope you are very well. Though we everyone know that we are facing a pandemic COVID-19. So I hope you already continue your class. And for your help, just we are here. So we're gonna take a class, English class today. So our topics is today is transformation of sentence. So here I will discuss about sentences, both meaning and structure. Both beside meaning and structure, I will also discuss about clause and phrases, which will be very helpful for you. So let's start the class. So I already shown the structure here. A sentence, if you divide, it will be in two parts. As a meaning, it will be in 5 sections. As a structure, it will be in 4 sections. For 5, here is for meaning is assertive, interrogative, imperative, optative, and exclamative. If we say as a structure, it will be in 4 sections like simple, complex, compound, and compound complex. So two topics will be as a structure. I'll discuss about the as a structure in a sentence. So let's start. Here as a structure, here I found simple, complex, compound, and compound complex. But in our academic book, so we have only 3 parts: just simple, complex, and compound. It will be transformed to simple to complex, either complex or complex to simple, or simple to compound, or compound to simple, or maybe complex into compound, or compound into complex. So I will erase this one because I will discuss about simple, complex, and compound. So dear students, so to transfer to simple to complex or complex to compound, I have to know, but everyone has to know this about the clauses and phrases. Because here, if you write simple, complex, and compound. To make a simple sentence, I need one clause. To make a complex sentence, this is 2 clauses. And compound 2 clauses as well. So here to discuss about the clause, I have to know about the clauses. Sometimes some students among grammar between or when sometimes in a dilemma what is the clause or what is the phrase. So I'm gonna discuss a bit so that you can understand easily what is clause and what is phrase. A phrase is a group of words. It's a group of words. So I know what is phrase? It's a group of words. If you discuss about clause, what is this? It's also a group of words. So the question arises, so what's the difference between phrase and clause? Here's the difference. It's a group of, the similarity is that it has a group of words, yet also a group of words. The dissimilarity is that here is no finite verb. In a phrase, there should be no finite verb. And if we see clause, there must be a finite verb plus subject. So the difference between phrases and clause is, in phrases, of course, there should be no finite verb, and in clause, there must be a finite verb and a subject. So if I say in a simple sentence, there should be one clause, complex 2 clauses, and compound we have got 2 clauses. So make the difference. See that clause. The classification of clauses. It can be divided in three parts. First, subordinate clause, then principal clause, and coordinate clause. Subordinate clause is a kind of clause which is dependent on the principal clause. That means other clauses. And principal clause is very much independent. It never depends on others. And in coordinate clauses, I find two principal clauses. Principal plus principal. Two principal clauses is amalgamated here, is combined. Two principal clauses, if we combine two principal clauses, it will be a coordinate clause. Subordinate clause, of course, is not independent, it's a fully dependent clause. But principal is not dependent, it's fully independent. And coordinate clause, two principal clauses, if we join two principal clauses, it will be a coordinate clause. So, here must be one principal clause. In complex sentences, here one principal plus one subordinate clause. And in compound sentences, there is one principal plus one principal. Let's see. In single sentences, there should be one clause. Sometimes we also found a principal clause, and sometimes here may be a phrase. Sometimes we see the phrase is present there, but that's no problem. In complex sentences, there should be one principal clause and one subordinate clause. I repeat, one principal clause and one subordinate clause. In compound sentences, of course there are two clauses like the complex sentences, but difference is that here there is no subordinate clause. Both are principal. And these two, they are joined by some conjunction. Here subordinate conjunction and coordinate conjunction. So let's come to the main point. That's the transformation of sentences. I will show you the transformation from complex to simple, or simple to complexes, or compound to complex, or simple. So let's come to the main point. Here, to join two clauses, one principal clause and subordinate clause, there should be some conjunction, as I said earlier. I will show you. And to make a simple sentence, there sometimes we found some conjunctions, but most of the cases it's not necessary, but sometimes it's mandatory. Here, complex, two clauses, one principal, one subordinate. Let's give an example. So dear students, look at the point. Here I found there's one verb and it's one verb. It's a finite verb. Here also finite verb. So I have found two finite verbs. That means it might be either complex or compound. It's two clauses, but here you see the when. You see? Conjunction, and this conjunction goes to complex. In complex sentences, we need some conjunction. So you know earlier, I said as, for example, when, since, because, though, if, so that, etc. We call it subordinate conjunction. And we have also coordinate conjunction. See the conjunction is you can easily identify with the short version fan boils. The fan boils means F means for, A means and, N means nor, B means but, O means or, Y means yet, S means so. But basically we use this and, but, or. Most of the cases we do that. So in complex sentences we have some coordinate clauses like as, when, since, because, though, if, so that, etc. We have a lot of them. And in compound sentences we have like fan voices is a short version. So to make understand easily or to memorize easily, so like fan voice. That means we have in compound sentence we have some coordinate conjunction. It's like for, and, nor, but, or, yeah. So of course, when we see the when here, so this goes to complex sentences. So it's a complex sentence. Easily because then there is one clause and in one clause. Now I know it's a clause and it's a clause, but I don't know. Now I don't know, is it a principal clause, is it a subordinate clause? So I have to know which one is principal, which one is subordinate. Let's see. To find out which one is principal or which one is subordinate, you have to find some tricks. It's quite easy. Don't get panicked, it's quite easy. Whenever you see the coordinate subordinate conjunction is subordinate conjunction. Whenever you find subordinate conjunction here, so when next to the subordinate conjunction, I repeat, next to the subordinate conjunction, that means next to subordinate conjunction, there is one clause. He came here. Is a subordinate clause. So next to the subordinate conjunction, the subordinate. And it's principal. So if you don't make it understand, I can repeat, you can repeat it. Next to the subordinate conjunction, I repeat, next to the subordinate conjunction, if you find clause, this clause must be subordinate. And after the two words, that clause is principal. And then another tricks. So if you can translate it to your mother language, that means our mother language is Bangla. So if you can translate it to your own language, you find that which job is done earlier. So if I translate, he came here, he made me. So which job is done earlier? This one. Because he came here first and after that he met me. So which one is done earlier? It must be subordinate. And the next one is principal clause. It's a trick to make it understand easily. So my topic is transformation of sentences. Now I'm taking class. Transform sentences about structure. So previous something so that you can make it easy to understand very clearly. Say what I want. Came here. He made it. So it's very complex. Let's make it simple. As I said earlier, in simple sentences, there should be one clause. But here I have found two clauses. That means I have to omit one clause. I have already found that this one is subordinate clause, this one is principal clause. So, whenever I have to change, I have to transform, I have to change the subordinate clause. I don't need to change principal clause. That means what it is, it will be as there. I repeat, you have to change the subordinate clause, not the principal clause. Principal clause will be remain as it is. So, here I found subordinate conjunction. In simple sentence, I don't need subordinate conjunction. That means I have to erase this one. I don't need that one in simple sentences. I say principal clause will be there as it is. So what I have to modify this one. So it's a clause and I have to break it. I don't need that clause. So the system is that here I found the subject. The same subject I found here as well. So it is the same subject, I don't need that one as well. But here I found the verb. The verb is came. It's a finite verb. So if I left it as well, came, that means here is a verb. So whenever you find a verb, it will be a clause. But I don't need the clause. I have already found a clause which is already fulfill its criteria. So I have to break it. How can I do that? Very simple. Whenever you find finite verb, try making ing. So whenever I'm making ing, it will be like coming. And I put it to the it's a phrase, it's not a clause right now because it's not a finite verb, it's a non-finite verb. So coming here, he made me, that means it's going to a simple sentence. If you said that here is when, so sometimes if say in the book that sometimes say when, so in replace that there should be another conjunction. So you can use that. In replace of when, it will be like in simple sentence, it will be at the time of. Or you don't need that. Here is not necessary. Only you said that coming here, he made me. Everything is present there because the subject is here, verb here, and object. So it's a clause, fully one clause, and this clause is principal clause. So I made the criteria and I transform from complex to simple. Let's make another example. What I did complex to simple. I did that one, complex to simple. Let's make another one. Simple to complex. It's also quite easy. So very simple sentence. The son having said he went home. You can be a bit confused. It might be a clause, but if you see clearly, it's not a clause. It's a phrase. Because you see that one. It's a two words. It's a finite verb. That means the subject and finite verb. That means this line is a clause, and this clause is principal clause, because there is no other clauses here. The son, it is taken as a subject, but having is not a verb. Have is a verb, but having is not a verb. It's a non-finite verb. But I need a finite verb. So I found here is a phrase and a clause. So it one is simple sentence. Let's make it complex. How can we make it complex? As I discussed earlier, to make a complex sentence, I need two clauses. I have already found one clause, so I have to make a new clause. Here I have a phrase. As I have a phrase, so it's quite easy to make a clause. See that? Here I say the son. The subject is already present. Here is having. I know it's not a finite verb. So wherever you find a ing, that means whenever you find gerund or participle, it means verb plus ing. To make a finite verb, it is easy. Omit ing and keep the only verb. It will be a finite verb. So here I found having. So if I omit ing, that means here it will be had. The rest of this state. He went home. So I have found here it's a verb, that means finite verb. So it's a clause and it's a clause. So I have found two clauses, which is the criteria of complex. So I have found two clauses, but here is the mistake. What is the mistake? Try to find out. What is the mistake? It's quite easy. See that? It's a principal clause, it's a past tense, but it's a present tense. So in principal clause, if the principal clause is past tense, then it will be past tense. If present, so it might be present. So when is past tense, then I have to make it past tense. That means it will be had. Did you understand? If not, I am repeating. You see that the principal clause is in past tense. When I know that go, went, gone. It's a present, it's past, it's past participle. So it's a past tense. So this verb should be in past tense. So if we convert have to past tense, it will be had. It's a two clause. There's a one clause. There's a principal clause because it's already there, and a subordinate clause. So I already told that in complex sentence, the conjunction should be before the subordinate clause. So the subordinate clause and the conjunction should be before the subordinate clause. The conjunction should be here. So which conjunction should I put? Try to find out. And here you have to use your brain. If you discuss this one, if you translate to your own language, that means Bangla, it will be quite easy. The son had said, he went home. That means if I use, it's a time. Look at this. It's about time. Son said. That means it's a matter of time. So whenever matter of time, it's quite easy. Use when. So when is a matter of time. So when the son had said, he went home. I think you're quite clear. If not clear, please try the comments on the inbox. I will try to give all the answers, and of course, whenever I'll be online, it will be quite easy. So if I deliver all your answers, I write all the answers in your comments box, and after that, if you practice, it will be more clear. If it's not clear, then please inbox me. I will try myself best to provide your answer. So dear students, this class is going to end now. The next time I will discuss about compound to simple or complex, so that you can better understand. And the last thing is that as COVID-19 pandemic is spreading all over, so according to the government, stay home, stay close to your parents, give the time to your parents, and be attentive to your study. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.